Hey, everybody. Here we are. It's a beautiful Friday. How are you doing today? I'm doing great. I feel good. Been up since 5 o'clock this morning, just going. It's one of those days where I just got up and I was like, hey, it's time to just go. Hey, what is this? Who am I? If this is your first time here, you're probably going, this guy's crazy. I am Dr. Jonathan Zenz. This is the Mindful Moment. This is an opportunity that I put forth for us to join together every single weekday at this time to engage in some spiritual practice together. Namely, that spiritual practice is the practice of prayer, which follows just a little bit of reflection on some things that I need to know. That's really what this is all about. Is what do I need to know today? So I've created this thing called the Mindful Moment. I did it for about 3 years. Then I took the better part of 9 months off of it. Now I'm back to it. And this is the end of my first week back at it. So here we are, Mindful Moment. I see that Sherry is here saying happy day to all. If you are watching live online, you can throw in a comment into the Facebook chat or into the YouTube chat, and it oftentimes will pop up. And I will see that comment and I'll get to say hello to you, shout out to you. Hello, Roberta. Happy Friday to you. This is also an opportunity I take every single weekday to remind you of this. This is my reminder to you. You are love. You are light. You are life. You are magnificent. We've had shirts made to say you are magnificent as a reminder. As we go out into the world, we can remind people you are magnificent. Jason, good morning. Good to see you here this morning as well. So today, I went to what I'm going to call this an oldie but a goodie. The reason I call it an oldie but a goodie is because this is a book that I studied when I was, before I was a minister. I was in the study to become a licensed religious science practitioner, a licensed spiritual practitioner. And one of the books we had to read was this book called Practicing the Presence by Joel S. Goldsmith. Now, if you know the work of Joel Goldsmith, phenomenal, brilliant, lovely, glorious. And because this is the month of wholeness, here at Unity of Tucson, that's our theme, wholeness. I came across this quote that I had underlined when I originally read this book. And it is, oh no. Well, here's the thing. There it is. I turned the page. This is the quote that I wanted. I turned the page to a different page, and that's neither here nor there. He wrote this: we are not the victims of anything external to ourselves. We are not the victims of anything external to ourselves. First of all, check in. How does that feel? We are not the victims of anything external to ourselves. He goes on to say, if this realization were of great enough depth, we would automatically rule out of our lives all physical discords. But because in most cases it is merely an intellectual acceptance, it is not effective in our experience. So, one of the things that I'm always inviting us to is deepening our intellectual understanding so that it can begin to resonate at the level of feeling, at the level of the emotion, at the level of the inner life. Because it's very easy to think the thought, I can bring to mind a thought. I am not the victim of anything external to myself. But it doesn't mean anything unless there is a feeling associated with that thought. That feeling is often addressing the belief in my life. And the belief is the thing that's absolutely the motivating factor. So if my belief is contrary to that idea, that intellectual idea, we are not the victims of anything external to ourselves. If my belief is saying, no, we're absolutely victims to things external to ourselves, well, then my experience becomes rooted in the belief. And that belief is upheld by the feeling I have around that belief. So the work that we do is all around belief, right? If this realization were of great enough depth, see, that's what he's talking about. Is like, if we take this down to the level of the belief and the feeling and understand it as a realization, an infinite realization of spiritual truth, then we would automatically rule out of our lives all physical discords. There could be nothing discordant about the experience of our lives, rooted ultimately in this idea, knowing who we are, remembering who we are. And so this goes, I'm going to set this book down because I want to talk a little bit about how do we do this, right? Because oftentimes people are like, well, okay, how do I do this? So spiritual practice, the spiritual practice that we teach, the primary spiritual practices that we teach are for the purpose of deepening the intellect into the heart space. The spiritual practices primarily for me of meditation and affirmative prayer are for the purpose of deepening. So as I meditate, I'm going deeper to become, to allow myself to open up to the awareness of what is happening below the level of the intellect. When I engage in prayer, I am not speaking to the intellect, I am speaking to the heart. And I'm speaking from the heart. You know, one of the differences in New Thought philosophies that I often say is that we are not praying to God. We are praying as God. We are praying as the creative power, because that's who and what we are. And so if we are looking to move past just an intellectual surface understanding of this to truly go on the journey of the deep dive, then the work is before us. Now, we also teach prayer in a structured way in New Thought. And you know, my original path, which was in the Centers for Spiritual Living philosophy, which was called religious science, has its own steps. Unity has its own steps in a structured way of addressing and approaching prayer. What I like to do is I look at those things and I say, well, they're actually cohesive. They actually are inviting us into the same path. Ultimately, that path is knowing who we are, because we are part of the infinite wholeness, stating our claim, speaking as God, and doing so from a grateful heart, and then just allowing ourselves to welcome the flow. That's the structure. God is all there is, it's who and what we are. So I make my claim with gratitude in my heart, and I expect the result. I expect the result. So I step out of the way. I step out of the way of trying to get in there and manipulate the result. I trust. Now, I want to go back to this real quick where he says, we are not the victims of anything external to ourselves. If this realization were of great enough depth, we would automatically rule out of our lives all physical discords. Now, here's the thing. If we truly are living within the construct at the heart level of knowing who we are, of believing that knowing, that God is all there is, and that's who and what we are, the rest of it takes care of itself. And so as we explore the construct of wholeness this month at Unity of Tucson, that's one of the guiding principles for me, is truly deepening more and more into believing the knowledge that I speak out loud from the point of view of an intellectual understanding. Because it's not just enough to say, I am that power, I am that presence. I have to believe it, and I have to feel that belief. And that's how I have come to shift my life to a greater expression and experience. So let's root that in some time of prayer. And I'm going to invite us also this morning, today, on this Friday, into a little bit of contemplation. So there's going to be a little bit more silence, perhaps, in this prayer experience. And in those expressions and experiences of silence, just deepen past the intellect and see what is happening in the heart space for you. See what is wanting to be expressed by means of you. So let's all take this moment to relax right where we are. If it's safe and comfortable for you to close your eyes, I invite you to do so. Just deepen into the awareness of what is happening physically for you, seeing how that is related to your thoughts, and see if there's any aspect of belief that is presenting itself, whether it is in alignment with an active thought or it is contradicting an active thought. Just open up in awareness, free of judgment, free of opinion. Just notice it. Just notice. Right here in this moment, for this is the only moment, the only thing that exists. There is God and nothing else. God, greatness on demand. God, the creative energy from which all matter is formed. There is no separation between matter and energy. There is only God. And so I know this God source energy is letting itself be expressed by means of all creation. And this is inclusive of each and every one of us. We are this power. We are the presence. We are the creative nature of the universe expressed as ourselves. I root myself in this realization. And I understand this to be true of everyone whom I encounter, everyone within the sound of my voice. We are this presence. And I deepen into a greater awareness below the level of the intellect, deepening into the belief and trusting in the free flow of the feeling that informs that belief. I listen in this moment. I deepen in awareness in this moment. I trust in this moment. And with a breath, I engage an understanding and a feeling of gratitude, recognizing the gratitude at the core of my being. I invite that gratitude to well up and overflow from within, letting my whole beingness be filled with and expressive of gratitude. I know that all is well. I trust that all is well. And I trust in the realization of the spiritual through the individualization of each and every one of us. And know that there is no difference between the universal, the infinite, and the individual. And so I welcome the flow. I step out of the way of the flow. I let my bloated conception of nothingness get out of the way of the divine circuits, and I trust my life flows forth perfectly. That is how I choose to move forward. And I trust this for each and every one of us. And so I let it be as I relax, release, and know this word spoken is the law unto the flow of my life and the lives of each of us. And I affirm it by saying, and so it is. Amen. There we are. I am always so delighted to share this time with you. And I'm so grateful that I've come back to share time with you every single weekday. You can join me. I'll be back on Monday for the midday. It's so trips off the tongue because I've moved it to the morning. So it's simply the mindful moment. Whether it's morning or midday, whenever you're seeing this, it's in its perfect time. So it's simply the mindful moment. But I will see you on Monday. If you'd like to join us on Sunday, you can check out our live stream at unitytucson.com or join us in person right here at Unity of Tucson. We are we're just south of River Road between Swan and Craycroft on a street called Camino Blanco. We'd love to see you here. And yeah, check it all out. You can also, sorry, didn't mean to hit that. You can also check out our website, unitytucson.com, for all the information about the various things that are happening here. If you want to reach out to me directly, you can always send me an email, revjonathan@unitytucson.com. There are lots of ways that you can get in touch with me. So many ways. And I'm so grateful that we can continue this connection. All right. Peace and blessings to you. I trust and know you are magnificent and will continue to shine that light and share our magnificence with the world. See you soon. Be well, everybody. Bye.